Say your piece.
Yeah, here's the thing. Next time you have me on here, I want to be interviewed by a respectable DLC commentator like Liam.
A respectable DLC commentator like Liam.
Not some EU trash.
You are the Lorcana Villain's biggest fan, which he needs more of those. I hope that this is like really good for him.
I drank the tea.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't.
Hello and welcome back to Lorcana Villain. My name is Baker, and today we're taking a look at the 16 deck lists for the NA versus EU Lorcana Cross-Continental Championships. Now, it's important to say straight away that this is not an official event. This is not organised by Ravensburger or anyone from Disney Lorcana. This is a fan-organised event. It was actually Pavel of Pixelborn Connect that really got this event going, and all of the participants were voted by members of the Lorcana community. So there was a poll that was up for a number of weeks where people could either add a new vote for a player that they wanted to vote for to recommend to represent their continent, and people could vote for whoever they wanted. And as a result of that, we ended up with 8v8 with 3 reserves for both teams. So I'll quickly go through both of the teams now, but when we talk about each deck list, well, I'll show you a slide with some of their achievements over the course of Lorcana. So for Team North America, we have Team Captain Zan Syed, Zach Bivens, Decandio, Kendall Burdett, Dale Belido, Sailor, RMB, and Jonathan Lamb. An absolutely terrifying team. And the reserves were Aaron Rubin, Diego, level 9001, and Ed. And on the other side of the pond, representing Team EU, the team captain Moyen, Artabax, Frank, Karsten, Kawa, Dinh, Khank, Pham, DKP himself, Earlmeister, Buonaserrrra, I don't know if I'm saying that name right, and Theotime. And the reserves, obviously the famous Joe, Speci Curly, Alphos, and Reese. All of the games are being played across Pixelborn Connect webcam games. It is 4 rounds of Swiss and then cut to a top 4. Pavel has said there's going to be some small prizing, which hasn't been announced, but let's be real, no one's there for the prizing. People are there for the pride. It is open deck list. The competitors had to lock in their decks one day after Azerite Sea was revealed, and then all of the players have access to everybody's deck lists. Pavel had asked players and casters, people involved in the organisation, to not share any of the deck lists until after round 1, which is why you're seeing this video within an hour of the last round 1 match happening. Now, this video, I'm not going to go into the bracket and talk about who won rounds 1. There will be a video for that right at the end when they get to top 4, where we'll look at the bracket and we'll highlight, obviously, the top 4 and the final games. But this video is just to go through all of the deck lists that the players brought. A couple of things to bear in mind. Once again, as I just said, they had to lock in one day after Azerite Sea, so not many of them will have had much chance to do testing. There will have been some of them that may have been doing proxy play before the release date from the moment that Azerite Sea was fully revealed, but not everyone would have had the chance to have done that, so that's a factor. And also for EU in particular, because we're so close to the European Championships, there's definitely at least a couple of players in the team that will have specifically played not what they are going to be playing at the EU Championships because they don't want to be so readable. A couple of them might still choose to play the same deck, but yeah, there will be some people that wouldn't have wanted to give away their early secrets before the EU Championships. Concerning the reserves for both teams, if they are called upon to replace someone, they have to play the deck of the person that they're replacing. So for an example, round 1, Moyen wasn't able to play, so he subbed in Speci, so Speci played what Moyen had locked in. But yeah, all games are live streamed. As many as possible are casted in multiple languages as well, which is awesome. A huge shout out to Pavel for the amount of thought that's gone into the organisation of this. I casted one game on Speci's channel, and for round 2, I'm going to be casting and hosting, streaming on my channel, 1 or 2 of the rounds. So super excited for that. But let's waste no more time. A quick shout out to the channel sponsor, Cardmarket. If you're looking for Lorcana singles at competitive rates, then check out Cardmarket, you saucy teapot. But let's look at the 16 top player deck lists. So we'll start off with the team captain for North America, Zan Syed. I had the pleasure of hosting him on the channel a couple of months back for a group podcast, and yeah, super nice guy. And I've heard he's coming to the Paris Last Chance qualifier, so it will be awesome to get to meet him. But yeah, super well known in the Lorcana community. If you're involved in the community in any way, the winner of DLC Vegas, top 4 at Atlanta, top 32 in Seattle, top 64 in Toronto, winner of the Charlie Collectible Shows 8K, and the rank 1 on Hardcore Pixelborn in its old state. Without a doubt, one of the most accomplished players in the game, and Zan brought the deck that he has been known to be tearing up the competition lately with. Emerald Steel Discard. So I know this deck has turned into public enemy number 1. There was a time where, like, Ruby Amethyst was like, no one wanted to hear or see anything about Ruby Amethyst. And I've got the analytics to prove it. Days are gone, it's Emerald Steel. But let's get these out of the way nonetheless. But I know there's still going to be plenty of people that are Emerald Steel enthusiasts or just want to win and they want to listen to some of the best players of these ink types. So yeah, this is what Zan has brought to this tournament. Only 1 card from set 6, the Azure at Sea, the new Pluto, 4-cost inkable 1/5 quest for 1 bodyguard, and when he's got no damage, he gets +4 strength. What business does this 4-cost inkable bodyguard have being a 5/5? Absolutely insane. Such a fantastic addition to any steel deck, really. These stats are incredible. Like, even Fox doesn't take it out. So yeah, a super good card. We are also seeing that one-off Doc, which Wonderland really is, I think, the one that made this famous as a tech option, playing a deck that was very similar to this when he won Seattle. And also the addition of 2 copies of the 1-drop Challenger 2 Captain Hook, just to help out with aggro decks and give you a little bit more board control in general, just for like bigger bodies locations. I remember Zan saying in his post-match interview that he felt like the Captain Hooks were necessary. But other than that, not a lot new going on. We've got, of course, that Diablo line, 1 copy of Ana with that flexible ability, only 3 copies of Ursa Deceiver. I'm seeing this more and more. You've got so much discard as is. This may still go up to 4, but I think 3 is reasonable. 2 copies of Morph. It's a shame to see this go down to a lower count, because I think this can be super good, as we know, with the shift options available to give us an early beast. But of course, the Prince John, 4 Ursa Deceiver Revolt to double sing our songs, Pete to lock those actions, Muses to control the board, and then Hypnotize, Sudden Chill, Storm Strength for board control, Bruno, and 4 copies now of the Hidden Cove. I've always said I thought 2 was not enough. It's just like, it's a bad top later on in the game most of the time, but it's such a pivotal piece to your high roll early game puzzle of the Diablo and then turn to shift and then move to Cove. So yeah, Zan maxing out these counts, and yeah, only 1 new card and only 1 copy, it being just 1 copy. Perhaps this will go up over time. Zan maybe not wanting to commit to more than that. I don't know how much chance Zan would have gotten to have tested set 6, so maybe just being conservative, but nonetheless, never bet against Zan, and I wish him the best of luck. Moving on to another player representing North America, we have Dale. Now, I was just saying about how Zan has become very much known for Emerald Steel, but credit where it's due, it is Dale who has been topping DLCs with that in combination for a long time now. And you see these accolades: top 8 at Chicago, top 32 at Fort Worth, Toronto, and Vegas. And this is all green steel, so definitely a master of this deck. And that being the case, it about figures that it is Emerald Steel that he brought along. So a lot of the same cards that we just looked at in Zan's deck, although we are maxed out on the 4 morphs, and we're running 2 Tinkerbells as an additional shift option. Once again, Pluto being represented here, 2 copies, but there is one more new card in this deck, an Azurite Sea card, the Go-Go Tamago, 2-cost inkable 2/2 quest for 1, evasive, and on play you can pay 2 ink to gain lore equal to the damage on chosen opposing character. This is insane. It is an absolute game ender. It fundamentally should change the way you play the game, because it's now just a potentially an instant win card. And just having 1 copy, I mentioned at the beginning that it was open deck lists. An open deck list format is very different, because suddenly these one-offs are a lot more valuable, because your opponent at least has to respect that you have this. And I'm pretty sure Dale said in his first round post-game interview that was like a lot of the reasoning for running this just 1 copy of Go-Go, just so it needs to be respected to a degree. So I super like that. We're also running the 1 copy of Doc, only 3 cove, but I think 3 is the sweet spot. That's probably where I'd be at. The 3 copies of Prince John, plenty of players think this is fine. You do want to see it early, but 1's generally enough. So yeah, looking super good, and I wish Dale the best of luck. Alright, let's look at a couple representing the EU. First of all, we have Earlmeister, fellow content creator, friend, and a few accomplishments here. Top 10 in the Enchanted Tour, top 12 in the pack tournaments, and 2 top 32 finishes in the pack tournaments. These were online in the prior state of Pixelborn, and they were big events, so this is quite the accomplishment, and currently is top 5 on Pixelborn Connect streams pretty much daily. Pixelborn Connect games, and finding a lot of success there, so you love to see it. And Earlmeister has brought something very fun. We have some PurpleFasa. So if you're new to the game, this 5-cost Mufasa is a 3/3 quest for 2. And when he's banished, you look at the top card of your deck. If it's a character, you play that card immediately for free, but enters play exerted. In that vein, we're only playing 4 non-character cards, which are the 4 friends, which I think is fine, but I also think you could just cut these probably. So in a lot of traditional Mufasa decks, you see this really heavy top end, especially if you're paired with red. There's a lot of really big, scary characters, and you want to try and high roll, increase the odds that you're going to get like some really nice big hits off of Mufasa. This deck can do that. There's a couple of high cost characters here. We have the Chernobog, which is a nice hit, and even if you're not hitting him with Mufasa, this is a deck with quite a heavy low end, so you should go through characters quite quickly and get this online. And of course there are 3 copies of Elsa, which would be probably your best hit off of Mufasa a lot of the time. Also justified though by the fact we're running 4 copies of the 5th Spirit, who's just a fantastic card in and of herself. And yeah, I think you'll reasonably shift this at least once a match. So and again, she's a great hit off of Mufasa. We're also running 1 copy of the new Hades, Lord of the Dead, 6-cost uninkable 3/4 quest for 3. And during an opponent's turn, whenever one of your other characters is banished, gain 2 lore. Worth mentioning, if characters are banished at the same time, including Hades, like by something like a Be Prepared, or maybe they ice block the Hades and then play Sisu, you will still gain lore for all those characters. The Hades still sees that happen. And also not a terrible hit off of Mufasa. But other than that, we're very mid-low range. We're more tempo. Like, we're not playing into Mufasa's ability to play big characters for free. That'd be great. But we're just keeping tempo. Like, 9 times out of 10, unless you hit friends, which feels bad. But at least you're always replacing yourself with something, which the way this deck is built is usually a high quester or serving a specific purpose. So for our draw, we're running 2 rabbits and 4 copies of the new Genie. Don't need to talk too much about this. Everyone knows this is one of the best new cards in the set. The tempo this can provide and the card draw, fantastic card. We are still playing 4 Snake and 4 Fox. I think if you're going to go with this split of Genie Rabbit, which I don't disagree with, I'm talking about Ruby Amethyst, but I'm on a 3/3. But if you want this split, I think you can go down to 3 Snake, because it's really slow. It's not something you really want to be playing on turn 2, I think, a lot of the time. So I think that would be reasonable to bring it down, but also fine to play 4. I'm being super picky. 4 Goat, 4 Rapunzel to be a great card drawer asset. 2 copies of that Peter Pan, Shadow Finder, who's going to help with taking out Diablos if they don't have Cove, and if they don't see the Peter Pan coming. Sometimes they'll play the Diablo even if they don't have the Cove, if they don't think you have the answer for it, and Peter Pan... You should be playing around Peter Pan, but not everyone does. 4 Crab to make a lot of these low-cost characters hit a lot harder. Of course, 4 Fox. And then we're playing 1 copy of Moana, the 3-cost uninkable 3/4 quest for 2. Just a nice early threat. Questing for 2 is nice, and she's got nice stats. And then 2 copies of Dale, Friend in Need, 3-cost inkable, 3/4 quest for 2, and he enters play exerted unless you have a character named Chip. We are not running any chips. But yeah, this stat line in and of itself is super good. Like, some people have been running this Moana, last set, even though she's uninkable, because the stat line's great and she's cheap enough. Obviously, entering play exerted is not great, but who was the character that it was one of the dwarves, one of the amber dwarves, who has pretty good lore, but he enters play exerted, but he still saw a little play and was alright. And this is kind of one step up from this, from that. I think this is one more to play, but slightly better stat line. I don't hate it. I wonder if there's anything better. But again, I don't feel like you need to max out this 3 slot either. I think it's fine. I just wonder if there is anything better. I'm not going to spend time looking through and seeing what I would replace this with, but it's fine. 4 copies of Wendy Darling is really nice. Great aggro character, good stat line. 1 copy of this Lilo, which a lot of players are really enjoying, the ability to just keep replaying it. And then for 1 drops, we've got 2 Olaf for 2 Rafiki and 4 Diablo. Quite often, I don't like Earlmeister's 1 drops. I think this I like. Diablo's obviously great. And the Rafiki and Olaf, so it's interesting because you could immediately make the comparison of, would you rather play Nala, the Amber 1-cost 0/4 over the Olaf? And to break that down, you have to think about its synergy with Crab. So what is Olaf taking out plus Crab that Nala isn't? So you're looking at all characters with 4 willpower. Off the top of my head, like the new Simba is a big one. This new Hades, the new Sapphire, Alice, but most importantly, Daisy Duck is a huge one. So I think I would probably go Olaf over Nala, because the difference between 3 and 4, I don't think is going to matter as much as that might. I mean, yeah, I like the Olaf. And 2 Rafiki, if they do go, if you're against a Diablo Emerald Steel deck and they start Diablo, you can start Rafiki, and turn 2, they ink, they discard, they play the Diablo. If they storm your Rafiki, that super hurts, but if they can't storm your Rafiki, but they just play the shift, discard the action, and then play Cove and move to Cove, then at least on the next turn, you draw, they draw. But they've gone -2 to play Diablo, bear in mind. So they go -2. Now it's -1 because they draw when you draw. You can challenge the Cove with the Rafiki and then play the Snake. That's one time where playing the Snake is okay. Because then they can't just storm, nor are they going to be able to strength you to stop you taking out that Cove. And now the turn 3 Peter Pan Shadow Finder is taking out the Diablo after you challenge the Cove of Snake. Again, if they storm your Rafiki, it all falls apart, but it's a potential line that I just wanted to point out. But yeah, I feel like Earlmeister's very much taken a YOLO approach, but at the same time, I know he's been enjoying this PurpleFasa deck for a while now anyway, so clearly believes in it, and I genuinely wish him the best of luck. Next up, also representing the EU, we have Kawa, co-host of the famous Lorcana podcast. I'm sure this man is no stranger to anyone watching. Winner of the Set 5 Content Creator Set Championships in London, which you could credit being responsible for this whole tournament coming around in the first place, if I'm honest. But yeah, while this was an invite-only tournament, there were some super good players in the room. This was not a cakewalk by any means. And yeah, Kawa performing really well, becoming the champion of that event. And then one of the most important facts, clearly in Kawa's mind, is the fact that he is taller than Brendan. Thankfully, he is not taller than me. But taking a look at the deck list, my man brought some Emerald Amber. This is the deck that he won the set championship, the Content Creator Set Championship with, and I know that he's been enjoying a lot. And there is just 1 card updated for Azurite Sea, which is Heffalumps and Woozles. 2-cost inkable song. Chosen opposing character can't quest during their next turn. Draw a card. Other than that, a lot of the story we've been telling for a while now. But if you're a newer player, a lot of this is based around Under the Sea, Darling, it's better. Don't get distracted, Baker. You've got so many decks to look at. 8-cost uninkable, sing together 8. All opposing characters with 2 strength or less. Put all opposing characters with 2 strength or less on the bottom of their player's deck in any order. There's already an awful lot of characters with 2 strength or less. Do not let that low amount of strength deceive you. But we have other ways of getting characters into that range for a start running 2 copies of Painting the Roses Red, where you choose 2 characters to get -1 strength, and then you can draw a card. And we're playing 4 copies of Kida, Protector of Atlantis. On play, all characters get -3 strength until the start of your next turn. So this also doesn't target, so it gets around Warp, which is super nice. So yeah, Kida plus Under the Sea, spells Doom for the majority, spells Seawater for the majority of characters in the meta. So this is super good. We've got 4 copies of Muses, who obviously synergizes really well with all of our songs and bouncing characters back to the opponent's hand. We've got the Diablo engine, the discard stuff going on, Prince John, Chilled, You Have Forgotten Me, a filthy discard action. 4-cost Inkable, your opponent chooses and discards 2 cards. Disgusting! 2 copies of You're Welcome to be is really flexible. It can just be hard removal if we need it to be, or we can play out one of our own characters to draw 2 cards. 4 copies of We Don't Talk About Bruno, return a chosen character to their player's hand, then that player discards a card at random. If your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand, then this is just spot removal. So super nice. 2 copies of Cricky, who gives all of your characters +3 strength on play, which can give you really nice challenging turns out of nowhere. 4 copies of Bare Necessities, again, more discard. And then 4 copies of Sir Hiss, who sings a lot of these songs, and being evasive and a 3/1 can take out that Diablo at the Cove as long as he doesn't get stormed all over. And 2 copies of the Hidden Cove to complement it. So yeah, it looks super good, and I wish Kawa the best of luck. Going back over to North America, we have the famous Zach Bivens, #1 seed DLC Chicago, #1 seed DLC Vegas, #1 seed DLC Atlanta, #38 seed DLC Fort Worth, and a host of other fantastic accomplishments. Bivens, a player I respect an awful lot, a personal friend, and yeah, I will never ever bet against Zach Bivens, a Lorcana champion in the making, I have no doubt. And my man brought what is really his pet deck. Zach has proved himself with lots of different deck types. He's played Emerald Amber, he's played Amethyst Steel, but the deck that I think is his go-to most of the time is a good old SteelSong, and we are seeing just 1 new card, 4 copies, the full commitment to the guard dog Pluto. We already talked about him. Zach Bivens is a huge fan of this card. Its stat line and what it can represent, protecting your 3-cost singers, is so good, especially if you want to wheel on turn 4 after dropping a Singer 5 and then putting down this Pluto. Absolutely adore it. We've got a 2-line special with so neat. We are playing a whole new world. The name of the game, just play down these singers who can sing removal cheap and refresh our resources cheap, and we have lots of aggressive questers. Shut the board down with Pete. All the good stuff. 4 copies of Whole New World, 4 copies of Zeus for the spot removal, 4 Storm, 4 Strength for a Raging Fire, 4 copies of Ballroom Sensation Cinderella to sing these 3-cost songs, 4 copies of Daisy Duck for that aggressive questing, 2 copies of Piglet, which Bivens hates. I asked him this when in the post-match. This was the match I commentated with Speci, and we did an interview with Zach after, and yeah, it was one of my questions was, I remember there was a time where you didn't like this Piglet. You said it's only good on the play, and I'm not interested in playing cards that are only good on the play when I'm already favoured on the play. And he has come round to saying that he still hates it, but it is a necessary evil in his eyes. You need it for the red-blue decks. You need just that little bit more of an aggressive quester. So Piglet does have pride of place in a Bivens deck. 3 copies of Nala, the 0/4 on a 1-drop. Again, similar reasoning from Zach. It's just another card that not only, if you miss your 1-drop, you normally lose. You need that pressure. And the fact that she's got the 4 willpower, she's got a lot more longevity to stick around and just get a couple of extra quests out. And she is really nice for setting up Rapunzels with that big pool of willpower, so you'll love to see it. 4 Ursula, who can sing all of these songs plus the 4-cost ones. 4 Smee for the stats. 4 Ariel for the Singer 5 and Finding Songs. But my favourite card in this deck, we've got the Baritone Bully Gaston, who is a Singer 5, doesn't search for a song, but he's a 3/3, which is so important because we are not brawled. And with SteelSong, if your Ariel gets brawled, it can just be game over. You just need to be faster than them, especially if we're playing against things with Sapphire and you're giving them time to ramp up more and have access to more of their removal cards. So Gaston is so important. 4 Pete to shut down the actions, 3 Lawrence for great stats, an incredible looking deck list, and I wish Zach Bivens the best of luck. From one North American legend to another, we have Decandio, top 8 at DLC Chicago, the winner of the Charlie Collectible Show's 10K, 2-time winner of the pack, 2-time top 16 of the pack. Again, I mentioned earlier, if you're a newer player and you may not have heard of the pack, it was an online tournament strictly for Pixelborn, and they were super popular. You would easily have 200-300 players in these, so not an achievement to scoff at by any means. And Decandio brought Amber Steel, but without the song. We actually covered Decandio the other day, had a really good run in a set 6 tournament. I think came top of Swiss. It was at least 6-0 going into round 7. Unfortunately lost his top 8 game, but yeah, no surprise to see Decandio performing well at Lorcana. And yeah, I think the deck he ran then is exactly the same as this. I'll double check, there may be a count difference, but it looks the same. Everything's 4s, so I doubt anything's different, to be fair. A 2-line special, and we don't even need the final slot. That's a flex, isn't it? You love to see it. But yeah, really, really aggressive, running Cinderella Ballroom Sensation so that we can sing these Storms and Strength from Raging Fires. Those are only songs. And then running 4 copies of the Seven Dwarfs Mine, which is a 2-cost Ingable, 2 to move there, 6 willpower, 1 passive lore, and the first time you move a character there, you can deal 1 damage to a chosen character. But if you move a knight, you can do 2 damage, and we are playing Doc, so we're built into that style of just be able to, like, we just ink to 4, maybe 5, but we're just trying to play as much of our hand out as possible. We want to be aggro, and then we want to be refilling with Doc, or we can refill with Rapunzel. But Doc is obviously also a knight, so we can trigger this extra damage. And running 4 copies of Happy, 1 drop Inkable, 2/1 quest for 1, and gains evasive during your turn. So he is also a knight that can trigger 2 damage from the mine, but he is also a soft Diablo answer if they're not at Cove and if they're not able to storm you. Then this can be an answer. We've got 4 Daisy, 4 Piglet, 4 Smee, 4 Lawrence, all the aggressive cards. Pete to shut down those actions. Another representative of the good boy, the guard dog. 4 copies of Pluto making his way into this list. We're seeing 4 copies of the new Lilo, who at the start of your turn, if she's in your discard, you can play her and she enters play exerted. Couple of quick notes. I know I've said this every video, but it's still early season. Let's make sure people are familiar. You still have to pay ink for this. You don't just play her for free. She doesn't say you play her for free. And you have to do it before you draw a card. It's in the set stage of ready, set, draw. So if you've drawn, you've missed this trigger, just to let you know. But yeah, really nice aggressive card, and just being able to keep replaying it, especially good against the red decks. And we're seeing 4 copies of the new Calhoun, one or the other. 2 cost uninkable, 3/2 quest for 1, resist 1, and level up. Whenever she banishes another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. I think this is nuts, mate. I heard Wonderland saying in the stream lately, like, that he wasn't a fan. To give that context, he said that it had been performing well over the course of the stream that he was casting. He was hosting Decandio versus Karsten, and in this particular matchup, Calhoun didn't do an awful lot. So that's important context, but I'm nuts about this card. I think it's one of the best new 2-drops in the game. Right there with Mr. Smee. Just the pressure it puts on, and it's so hard to remove. So yeah, I'm a big fan. And yeah, this is a really fun looking deck and powerful. So I wish Decandio the best of luck. And let's go back over to the EU for our final Amber Steel deck. We have Frank Karsten, the first ever Disney Lorcana Challenge champion, the winner of DLC Lille, top 32 in DLC Bologna, and my man is a writer for TCG Player, Ultimate Guard, and a Magic the Gathering Hall of Famer. I have no knowledge of Magic the Gathering, and it was never a game I picked up, but obviously learned a lot about Frank Karsten after him winning Lille. He was kind enough to come onto my channel, and I did an interview with him, and super grateful that he was willing to do that. Really nice guy, and yeah, just one of the greatest minds in Lorcana. And yeah, Frank also brought some SteelSong, another deck that he is very much known for. And from what I've heard from Magic the Gathering players, SteelSong in general, like whole new world variants, are very similar to a specific type of deck in Magic the Gathering. I'm just repeating things I've heard here. But yeah, that absolutely makes sense. And this is his build. Like I said, we are a whole new world variant. We are playing 4 aerials. No Gastons in here, sad to see. 2 Zeus, 4 strength for Raging Fire. We are still, we're playing 2 copies of the new I'm Still Here. I'm resisting the temptation to burst into song so much. 3 cost Inkable. Chosen character gets resist 2 into the start of your next turn, and you can draw a card. Really nice. Really like this. If nothing else, just because it's an additional potential hit for aerial, and it's Inkable. But yeah, this resist 2 can be super good, and drawing cards is king. We are playing one copy playing one copy of the Cinderella Stout-Hearted, which I love, especially in open deck format with the 4 Cinderella, Boring Sensation. Just threatening this is huge. We've got a lot of one-offs here. A lot of, this very much a toolbox variant. Just one copy of Lawrence, one copy of Pete, one copy of that Prince Naveen with Singer 6, and he can play a 6 or less cost song on play. One copy of Piglet, one copy of Simba Protective Cub. But this makes sense. I mean, I don't know about the count, but I'm never gonna doubt Frank Karsten. But the Simba in general, the inclusion makes... Oh, to be fair, we're running 4 of the 1-drop Simba. Yes. So 4 of the 1-drop Simba, who on play, you can draw a card and discard a card. That can be good. Get rid of those uninkables, those multiple copies of A Whole New World. That one-off that you don't need in this particular matchup. But yeah, 5 total shift targets for the new Simba Pride Protector. 5 cost uninkable, 4/4 quest for 2, shift 3, and at the end of your turn, if this character is exerted, you may ready your other characters. So not only is this a singer that we can do on as soon as turn 3 if we so choose, but this is such a great aggro strategy. If you put this down on the turn that you quest with a Lilo, a Piglet, a Mr. Smee, some of them, all of them, and then you quest from Simba or challenge, just re-ready them all. That's super cool, especially if you're stopping Mr. Smee from taking the oh dear damage. So you'll have to see it. 1 copy of that Pluto and 1 copy of the monstrosity Gantu, Captain Cranky Head. 5 cost inkable, 4/3 quest for 4. Run your smashes. Oh, you don't need smashes. If you're on steel, you just run straight with a Raging Fire. Maybe you should still run smashes. I'm scared. We are playing the Robin Hood shift line, which is falling out of popularity these days. But Frank Karsten holding very true to this Robin Hood shift line. And yeah, I think that covers everything. So Frank using a lot of one-offs, which again, in open deck list format, I super like just making your opponent respect that you might have these one-offs. Of course, probably doesn't matter as much for things like Lawrence. That's probably just a, hey, I could only fit 1 in and I wanted 1. But like just having 1 Naveen, like that's something that you have to think about. The 1 Gantu is definitely something you have to think about. The 1 Cinderella Stout-Hearted. So yeah, a toolbox variant looks disgusting, but super strong. And I wish Frank the best of luck. And also representing the EU, we have DKP, Dinh, Khank, Pham, one of the other most accomplished players in Lorcana, up there with the likes of Bivens and Zan Syed. Top 8 in Toronto and Bologna, top 16 in Fort Worth, top 32 in Birmingham, top 128 in DLC Bochum. The first and only player to qualify for both EU and North American championships. What a champ. And he did it by running the same ink combination every single time, and not much has changed. This is the man very much known for Ruby Sapphire. Very sad to see it was Dinh versus Zach Bivens round 1, the game I casted with Speci, so I got to do the interview with them. And yeah, my first question for Dinh was, where on earth is the Dig a Little Deeper, which, if you follow Lorcana, you know is kind of this man's trademark. Opted to leave it behind this time. Instead, brought along for fun, his words, the Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock. Great ability, really strong ability on play. 2 random cards from your ink will go to your hand, and when he quests, you can ready all your ink. If you've got the cards and it's the right play to play all of them, this is a heck of a high roll, and just the fact that it's questing for 4 with a nice stat line. I'm not a big fan of Mufasa, but Dinh even said himself it was just a fun card. And spoiler, I'm not going to spoil any of the matchups in this video in terms of the winners. But one game, this Mufasa did put in work. We are not playing Fishbone Quill, our Rambies. How Far I'll Go, Sail the Azurite Sea, and 4 copies of Tipo. Obviously, Sail being the new edition where you get to draw and then you get to ink additionally. It still has to be inkable, unlike Tipo where you just secret ink something. But yeah, leaving behind the Fishbone and only 6 targets for the 4 Flavishums. We've got 4 Porpsicle and 2 Vitalisphere. Vitalisphere is super nice. Be able to deal with locations, and even like things like, we saw this put in work against the new Pluto, being able to give Rush to Grandma Tala and take her out, and then take out the aggressive quester. So this is pretty cool. But yeah, this is a low amount of hits for Flavisham for sure. We've got the 4B prep, and then a lot of the usual suspects here. So yeah, the lack of quills, definitely a shock, but Dinh is such a great player. He knows this deck insanely well. He usually brings slightly different interpretations of it. And yeah, I would never bet against him, so I wish him the best of luck. Going back over to North America and looking at our other Ruby Sapphire deck, we have Sailor, who is, again, very much known for this deck type. He was kind of the originator of the Ice Block Sisu variants when those cards came out. So, yeah, Sailor's a great guy, personal friend, a lot of respect for him, and some great accomplishments. Top 16 at DLC Fort Worth, a 5 times top 4 set championship participant, 6-time top 8 high-level events, and top 25 Pixelborn seasons 1 to 4, and member of Team Labyrinth. And yeah, a great player. Of course, bringing along his specialty, Ruby Sapphire. But we do have some new toys. We're running 3 copies of the new Maui Half Shark. 6 cost Inkable 7/5, quest for 1, evasive. And whenever this character challenges another character, you may return an action card from your discard to your hand. And whenever you play an action, gain 1 lore. And this deck already ran a lot of actions, but we're playing into it even more. We're running 2 copies of Vitalosphere, which is always, you can always justify it with Flavisham. It's just a 1 cost, and Tamatoa, just a 1 cost Inkable item, but getting that ability off with Rush is going to make the Maui Shark a lot better. We're also playing 1 copy of a Pirate's Life for the Lore Steel, which is going to be super cool. And Maui Half Shark can sing it himself if he so wants. And then a lot of the actions that this deck will be playing anyway. Sail, Vision, Brawl, How Far I'll Go. We're seeing 1 copy of Let It Go and 1 copy of Hide Away. You can absolutely justify just the 1 Hide Away with the Maui Shark. Because of course, you can, again, as long as you don't ink it, then you can just get it back. So that's pretty cool. I imagine that's what justifies the 1 Let It Go and 1 Pirate's Life as well. We are playing those ice blocks and the 3/3 Sisu line. 2 copies of Madame Medusa the Boss. Only 1 Lucky Dime, but everything else looking pretty usual suspects. So I wish Sailor the best of luck. And also representing North America, we have NoImNot, a Ruby Amethyst extraordinaire, something of a hero to me in that respect. Also a super respected player, member of Team Labyrinth, and some great accolades. Top 16 in DLC Atlanta, top 32 in Vegas, 2 times top 4 in Charlie Collectible Shows 10K. That name's come up a lot. These are like big tournaments. Top 2 in SCG Atlanta, 3rd in the pack, and multiple tops in 1Ks, 2Ks, and beyond. So yeah, another very experienced and accomplished player. Of course, bringing along that familiar Ruby Amethyst deck that he pilots so well. Just 1 new card from Azurite Sea, 2 copies of the new Genie, who has evasive, quest for 2, and on play draws you a card. Other than that, we are just traditional as it comes. Ruby Amethyst. We got 4 Chernobog, only 2 copies of Broom, 4 Snake, 4 Fox, 4 Rabbit, 4 Goat, 4 Elsa, 4 Maui, 2 Tour Ladies, 4 Friends, 4 Brawl, 4 B-Prep, 4 Castle, 4 Sisu. Not much going on here, mate. Just add a couple of Genies, give me a little bit more tempo, increase, make it, like, you don't even have to hold your rabbits now, so sometimes you can, and it's preferable to. But with Ruby Amethyst before, like, you were always hesitant to mulligan away a rabbit, because if you don't find that rabbit again by turn 4, that can just be game losing. But then drawing multiple can sometimes be bad. But with the just extra copies of this 4 cost uninkable draw card, I think you can justify it a bit more. And yeah, not much to say here. We got that Flynn Sisu line, which is still as powerful as ever. A lot of decks just still can't answer this early, and that's going to put in a lot of work. So yeah, I wish Kendall, NoImNot, the best of luck. Going over to the EU, our other Ruby Amethyst deck, we have Buonaserrrra. I'm definitely saying that name wrong. I'm super sorry. But another very accomplished player, top 32 in DLC Lille, the first ever Disney Lorcana Challenge, winner of the Enchanted Tour, top 8 of the Enchanted Tour, top 16 of the pack, top 32 Winter League. Another very experienced player. Also on the Ruby Amethyst, but we have a very different build. This is the Burn variant with a little bit more, a little bit of control weaved in. So, 1 drops, we got Brooms and Chernobogs. We are running 4 Flynn and 4 Sisu, and our locations 4 Castle and 2 copies of the Library. 1 copy of Crab, 3 copies of Peter Pan Shadowfinder, who's good not only for the Diablo if it's not a Cove, but can give some great synergy to the Maui Half Shark, because obviously Maui has evasive, and Peter Pan gives rush to characters with evasive. So just having this Shadowfinder sitting on board means that Maui is already threatening to just come out rush challenge. So absolutely love that. 1 copy of the Hero to All, just for a bit of board control. 4 copies of Genie, no rabbits whatsoever. We all gas, baby. 4 copies of Goat, 3 copies of the Super Goof, more lore out of nowhere, and then 3 gathering knowledge and wisdom, which is great lore gain, and now we can get it back, and he gains you lore just because you played it. 1 friends, 4 brawl, because you still need brawl. 1 copy of Be King Undisputed for a bit of control. 2 copies of Pirate's Life, again, we're just aggro and works really well with the Half Shark. 4 B prep, because we still got to reset the board at some point, and then Amethyst Chromicon, so that we're drawing cards all the while, and we don't care about our opponent having more cards than us. We're just going to out-tempo them with big high questers. We're going to be rushing in with Super Goof to gain lore out of nowhere. We're going to be playing Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom, hopefully with Maui Half Shark already on the board. We've even got 1 copy of the White Rose in here for lore gain. This looks super fun, and I can't wait. I haven't seen any of the games with this deck yet, so I'm really excited. That it will have happened by the time you're seeing this video, but I'm recording this on the 20th, so I haven't seen any matches with this deck yet, but I'm super excited to, and I wish them the best of luck. Also on the EU side, we have Moyen, another player that needs little introduction, a member of the podcast, top 16 in DLC Bologna, 33rd DLC Birmingham, 65th at DLC Seattle, was super close to making day 2 at a North American event, and multiple tops of the pack and many more accomplishments. And yeah, Moyen's a personal friend as well, super great guy, and in my opinion, one of the best minds in the game. But it's probably worth also showing the accomplishments card for my boy Joe Speci Curly. I haven't looked at this properly before now. EU DLC caster. You'd love to see it. Speci was one of the reserves. But as I mentioned earlier, Moyen was never able to play his round 1 game, so Speci was always subbing him in for this first game. And I believe I heard Speci say that is a big reason why this is Moyen's deck, and Moyen allowed them to lock in something that Speci was comfortable with. Again, you had to lock in your deck the day after Azure Sea was revealed, but I think Moyen knew from that point that he wasn't going to be able to do round 1, because I think he's away for a whole week somewhere. So they knew right from the beginning that he couldn't play round 1 and Speci was going to play it. So I think the idea is they built something that Speci was more familiar with, and then Moyen will just take it over for the rest of the tournament. But yeah, we got some Amethyst Steel, which seems really well positioned and a really popular choice at the moment. Super low to the ground. Look at these 1-drops. Chernobyls, Diablos, Brooms, Maleficents. We're running Crabs, which work super well with the Diablos. The Maleficent, obviously a great turn 1 drop, especially if they go turn 1 pass or Porp or something like that. 2 copies of Calhoun, great aggressive quester. 3 copies of Doc. Speci said that he wants this to be 4, which I agree with. 4 Smee, 4 Fox, no Snake in here, 2 Slow, 2 Crab, I already mentioned the Crab, 4 White Rose for the lore gain, just 1 copy of Pete to shut down those actions, 4 Genie, 4 Goat, 3 Elsa, 4 copies of the Big Bad Gantu, which again, I believe I heard Speci say that Moyen wanted less, and Speci insisted. 2 copies of Befuddle, 4 Fire the Cannons, kill the bird on sight. My man is so fed up with Diablo. I know this for sure. And this deck list very much represents kill the bird on sight. And 3 copies of Queen's Castle, which some people might think Library would work better in a deck like this, the super low to the ground. I respect Library. I've always said I think Castle was just so much better. I think the 2 lore that it represents it's not, they're not even in the same league in my opinion. I still respect Library, but yeah, I love the inclusion of the castles. So yeah, super fun looking list, and I wish both Speci and Moyen the best of luck. Going back over to North America, we have RM B, another member of Team Labrum. Super nice guy, haven't met him, but always gives out very positive vibes in my opinion. Top 8 at DLC Atlanta, top 64 at DLC Fort Worth. Love to see it. And I know R&B cooks around with a lot of different decks, but predominantly known for being a blue steel lover, and this ink combination is my favorite upgrade from a new set. I think the new inclusions from Azure at Sea are super cool, even though there aren't many of them. Actually, in this deck, only Sail and 1 other card. But you know I love me some Jim Hawkins. Let's take a moment to look at him properly. The 2-cost Inkable being a 0/4 quest for 1, but whenever a card is put into your Inkwell, he gets Challenger 2. And the Floodborn being a shift 3, 5-cost uninkable 5/5 quest for 2, and when on play, you can deal 1 damage to a chosen character or location. Worth noting, if you have Jim 2 drop on the board and you ink to 3 ink, and then you pay that 3 ink to play Jim Hawkins, the Floodborn, you do 1 damage, and he still has that Challenger 2. So he represents then a challenge for 7. So 8 damage this represents. And even in other circumstances, you can have Jim on turn 2, and then turn 3 you can ink, play Fishbone, ink again, he's Challenger 4, and that 4/4 stat line is pretty cool. So I love this inclusion, partly because I'm partial to Jim Hawkins and Treasure Planet, but I think it's super cool. We're running 2 copies of Magic Broom as a Diablo answer, 2 copies of Pete, 2 copies of Ariel, and Pete plus Ariel can sometimes just be checkmate. The pressure that she provides, if you've got more items than your opponent, you're questing for 5, and add a dime, that can be a GG. 4 Tink, 2 Simba with that diverse ability. Whenever on play and on banish a character, you can either draw 2, discard 2, or deal 2 damage to a character. 3 Tamatera, of course, 2 Cannons, 4 of Sail the Azurite Sea, just 1 Visions, 2 Smash, kill the Gantu on sight, and kill the Diablos at Cove. Super important. 1 Zeus, 2 Let It Go, 4 Wheel, 2 Grab Swords, the 4/4 Porp, and Fortisphere, and 4 copies of Cogsworth I missed, who is obviously a great singer for Whole New World, and just the resist 1 to all of your characters is super good. But yeah, Blue Steel suddenly to me looks so much more appealing. I think it's because of the gym, I really do, but I wish R&B the best of luck. And also representing North America, ignore this Team EU badge, we have LamChops, another player with a lot of success behind them in Lorcana. Top 8 in Vegas, top 64 in Toronto, top 128 in Fort Worth and Atlanta, and then multiple other wins and tops in other events. And also primarily known for playing Sapphire Steel. The new toys, we have just 2 copies of Sail the Azurite Sea, and I'm running 3 copies of Pleakley, 3-cost inkable 3/4 quest for 1, and on play, put chosen character of yours into your inkwell face down and exerted. We're also playing 4 Simba Future Kings, where you draw and discard. So this can be an alternative 1-drop other than the traditional Porp or Fortisphere on turn 1. Worth noting, only 3 Fortisphere, and this is a 61 card deck as well, by the way. Jonathan Lamb always brings something slightly bizarre. I think it was them that was playing Merlin's Cottage DLC recently. I may be mixing them up with someone else. But we're also playing 1 copy of the Floodborn, Simba, who's a shift 4, and on play you can banish an item or location, and yep, he's pretty cool. I imagine this Pleakley is hitting Simba more often than not, unless they decide they want to go for the shift. But yeah, we're also playing 2 copies of Ariel, 4 Pete, so that we have that checkmate available to us. 2 Cannons to break shift lines, 2 Swords, 4 Whole New World, 2 Let It Go. A lot more players putting value on Let It Go for sure. 4 Tink, 4 Cogsworth, all the usual suspects. Yeah, just these Simbas definitely less common, and Pleakley seeing some love. And yeah, I think Pleakley is pretty cool. So yeah, deck looks good, and I wish them the best of luck. Just 2 decks left to look at, both from the EU. First off, we have Artabax, the green purple master, 2 times top 2 in the pack, top 25 picks award at seasons 1 to 4. Artabax is the champion without a title. I know he's been super disappointed at his DLC runs this season. I know he's just got super unlucky. I've got all the respect in the world for Artabax. He's a fantastic player. And we covered him super recently. I think it was my last video actually, when he went 18-0 in a set 6 tournament, repping his pet deck EA Tempo. And here it is. We looked at this deck extensively in that video and did a 20-minute interview and got his full thoughts. So if you want more of a breakdown on this deck, then, well, the first thing you should do is you should go to Artabax's actual channel, where he does a podcast with Lorcana Decklists, and they recently released a video where we talked all about it. You should do that first. But if you want even more Artabax, then you can go to my last video where he was very kind to join me for a 15 to 20 minute interview. But I'll just draw attention to a couple of things. This one-off Gazelle that can give evasive at the start of your next turn. It's a way to potentially answer Diablo, or just give evasive to your fox, your goat, your rabbit, your Clarabelle when you're pushing for lore, whatever it might be. And then yeah, these 4 Go-Go Tamagos that are just game enders. 3 White Roses as well, 1 Peter Pan to try and get the Diablo outside of Cove, 1 Sea Witch Queen to shut down songs. Looks super, super good. And yeah, if you want an even more in-depth, some more in-depth thoughts about this deck, check out Artabax's channel. And then if you want even more, then go back and watch my last video. But yeah, a lot of love for Artabax, and I wish him the best of luck. And our final deck to look at comes to us from Theotime, the winner of DLC Bochum and Red Purple Fan. But you wouldn't believe that. To take a look at the deck that they brought along, and definitely the most unique, we have some Sapphire Amber Aggro. Look at this 2-line special. We've got daisies, we've got a 4/4 Keeda line, not serving the purpose of fueling under the sea, just giving us a free questing turn. Get out a load of characters, our opponent's going to be assumedly building a board, and then play this Keeda. Everything gets -3 strength. We don't care about our characters getting -3 strength. We're just looking to quest. So super cool. Nala there also fitting that, like we talked about Nala earlier when we looked at Bivens' deck. It's just a little bit safer. You get that one more quest out of her, and she's great at setting up Rapunzels. We've got 4 copies of Anna. If you've got another hero character in play, she quests for 2, and the heroes here are the Keedas, the Baloos, the Donald Ducks, who are both bodyguards and can represent extra lore. The Alices, we'll look at her properly in a moment. The Wendy Darlings, the Rapunzels, and even the Scrooge McDucks and the Keedas, and of course the Baymax. Yeah, we've got heroes for days, mate. 4 copies of Duke Weaselton, 2 cost incable, 1/2 quest for 2 and ward, so hard to remove. I mentioned the Baloo and Donalds, they're just one's a musketeer. Bodyguards, who represent extra lore. The new Alice, Savvy Sailor, 3 cost uninkable, 1/4 quest for 2, ward, and whenever this character quests, chosen character of yours gets +1 lore and gains ward. This is an insane ability, being able to put this down on 3, and then turn 4, play a character, quest with Alice, give that character ward for the turn. Or giving it to a character that can already quest and it's questing for 1 more. So that's pretty insane. 4 copies of Wendy Darling, 3 cost incable, 3/1, and she has ward and support, questing for 2. Rapunzel for the draw. The Sven, who is a really nice addition. Great stat line, and on play you can ready a chosen character. They can't quest for the rest of the turn, but just keeping them safe. And 4 copies of Scrooge McDuck, 4 cost uninkable, 5/5, quest for 2. Such an aggressive quester and a great stat line. And 2 copies of the new Baymax Armored Companion, 5 cost inkable, 2/6, quest for 2. When you play this character and when he quests, remove up to 2 damage from a chosen character, gain 1 lore for each damage removed this way. Insane potential for reach. And 4 Neverland and 4 McDuck mana. So fast. So much to talk at, so much to acknowledge here. The Alice is going to put in so much work, giving ward to things. The Baymax is going to catch people off guard. Donald Ducks in themselves can catch people off guard. The extra lore that's represented. Sven, yeah, this looks fantastic. This is another deck that I'm still at time of release of this video, all the first round matches have happened. But I'm recording this on the 20th, and I've not seen this deck in action yet either. So I'm really excited for that. So yeah, I wish them the best of luck. And then super quick, because this video's gone really, really long, we'll look at the reserves. We already looked at Speci. We've also got Reese here, who came second at DLC Lille, a fantastic player, and from London, so my neck of the woods. And also, of course, Alphos, fellow content creator. And yeah, he's had a pretty good season. Top 32 in Birmingham, top 64 in Bochum, and top 128 in Lille and Seattle. You'll have to see it. And the reserves for North America, we have Diego, level 9001, the winner of DLC Toronto, 3 top 32s in the pack. We also have Ed, the winner of DLC Fort Worth, top 32 in Chicago, and other very notable accomplishments. And finally, Aaron Rubin, top 16 in Atlanta, top 64 in Chicago, top 128 in Vegas, and again, more accomplishments as all these players have. And that is it. This video's gone really, really, really long, so I want to wrap it up. But yeah, I will do another video covering this when it gets to the top, well, when they finish, really, but looking at the top 4, and we may break down the bracket a little bit. But yeah, super grateful to Pavel for organising this, and yeah, I can't wait to see more of it. But that's going to be it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to the channel, please subscribe for all things Lorcana. Hit that like button to show support, and we'll see you soon.